When it comes to video games, the number one thing the fans always compare games and systems with is their graphics and performance. Personally, what makes a game isn't just about the graphics, it's about the gameplay, it's about the storyline, it's about the sounds, it's about the music. It's not just solely about the graphics. See, when I look at a game, I don't just look at the graphics. I don't care if the game is like 8K, 4K, 1080p, 720p, or hell, even 144p. I just like the game because it's fun and entertaining. Plus, honestly, I'd rather play a game with crappy ass graphics but good gameplay rather than a game with fantastic graphics and crappy ass gameplay. Plus, do you know why I favor Nintendo over the Xbox and PlayStation? Sure, Nintendo doesn't have quote unquote good graphics in the eyes of some people out there, but for the rest of the aspects of it, I enjoy the storyline, the art styles, the sounds, and the music of it, and I don't solely just look at the graphics alone. I count other things as well, and I have experienced all three video gaming consoles: Nintendo, Sony's PlayStation, and Microsoft's Xbox. And honestly, I'm more interested in Nintendo, at least from my point of view. That doesn't mean I'm bashing the PlayStation and the Xbox, heavens no. If you like the PlayStation or the Xbox, I respect your interest and keep playing those consoles, because that's your life, your interest, you do what you like.
But the Nintendo Switch has hardware from a decade ago!
That doesn't even matter how old the hardware is. As long as the console plays good and all that, that's the only thing I care about. Who cares about the specs of the hardware? Who cares about the age of the hardware? And honestly, to tell you the truth, I think the NES and Super Nintendo is a whole lot better from my point of view than the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series XS. I can name a few examples as well. Well, the game's graphic is like 10 out of 10, but everything else was done so poorly, so the whole game was done poorly because they only focus on just the graphics and nothing else. One example is Cyberpunk 2077, which that game took nearly a whole decade to be made, ever since the PlayStation 2 was coming out with games. The PlayStation 2! Don't get me wrong, it does have good graphics and everything, and even the storyline was alright. But the rest of it was done extremely poorly, and the game was so broken, they spent almost a whole decade, and it turned out like that. That's one of the examples of why graphics doesn't make a game, and why you shouldn't judge a game solely by its graphics. People need to realize that not everyone can afford a 4K or 8K video gaming system and have to rely on what they have available. So you need to consider the people who wants to play a game just for the pure enjoyment of it and not trying to compete on who has the best graphics. To me personally, comparing games by their graphics is just so lame, dumb, and absurd. Like I mentioned earlier, I would rather play a game with great gameplay and crappy ass graphics. As long as you play the freaking game, that's all that matters. When I compare games, graphics is the last thing I compare, because look at this image that someone on the internet posted. This is precisely how I base my game comparison. If I compare games, the number one things I look at is their gameplay, then storyline, then sounds and music, then the art styles, then the characters, and then so on, all the way to where graphics is dead last on that list. Let's take my favorite video game of all time, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I gave that game a 9.9 out of 10. Well, everything I have under that game is a 10 out of 10. Okay, let's say that everything is 10 out of 10 except for the graphics, and graphics is 0 out of 10. It will only knock the final rating down to like 9.5 out of 10, which was still landing in the top 10. Now, if everything is 10 out of 10 and I have the gameplay down to 0 out of 10, that would knock it all the way down to like 4.2 out of 10. Hell, if everything was 10 out of 10 and only the sound and music is 0 out of 10, it'll go all the way down to like 6.8 out of 10. This tells you that graphics don't matter to me because it doesn't affect the overall score of that game. Look, if you don't like a particular game or a franchise, I respect that. I'm not going to judge you on what you like and don't like. Take me, for instance. I don't like sports. which I'll cover in a later video why I don't like sports. But if you want to bash and make fun of people because of a particular game they like, just because the graphics aren't to your liking, you know what that makes you? That makes you a... Never mind. I'm just saying here in this video, don't judge a game by its graphics and don't make fun of others because they like a particular game with subpar graphics. All in all, graphics don't make a game. That is like comparing which fast food joint has the best ice. For what I'm getting at in this whole video, you shouldn't compare graphics over everything else because you can have a game with phenomenal gameplay with crappy graphics, and you can have games with fantastic graphics with crappy gameplay. A real true gamer respects everyone's interests. If they enjoy a game or the game is not their cup of tea, that's cool. If you enjoy a particular game because you enjoy it, I fully respect that. I'm not going to judge you on what interests you. If the game makes you happy, that's all that matters. Don't let others put you down because they don't like the game you're playing. They shouldn't dictate the things you shouldn't and shouldn't play just because the graphics, quote unquote, suck. Who cares if they suck? If you like the game, you like the game. And don't let others tell you otherwise. Anyways, been your buddy Tacky here, and I just figured I might as well make this video just a pinpoint of everything about video games or why people want to just compare it just solely for the graphics and nothing else. Who cares about graphics? As long as a game makes you happy, that's really the only thing that matters. Don't talk to Nintendo fans just because Nintendo don't have good graphics. This whole entire console war fighting is just pointless, senseless, and absurd. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. Your buddy Tacky here. Peace.